I apologize if I'm talking loud. I'm actually outside and I don't have my earpods on me, so. And besides, it's a beautiful day. The breeze is still blowing, but it's not as cold. But what I need to talk to you all about right now at this point is, of course, what happened yesterday, that being March the 25th, 2023, the Waco Donald Trump rally. That rally took place 30 years to the day of the Waco massacre. Of course, everyone should know what the Waco massacre is. The Waco massacre was about the Branch Davidian massacre, otherwise known as that. While a leader of a cult, the leader of the cult himself, actually murdered his own cult members. And I'm not just talking murder, I'm talking burning them alive. A defining moment against government oppression, a defining moment against government overreach. That's how the right wing looks at what happened at Waco. And now they got another memory, 30 years to the day, how Donald Trump, a man who has allowed the threats of this country to continue to manifest over and over and over and over and over again, to the point where people are actually, his own supporters are threatening prosecutors. Now, the whole Waco rally for Donald Trump was nothing more than just a bunch of BS right-wing, a gigantic Donald Trump jerk-off session. Not to mention, he's not the only one who was jerking off, mind you. I mean, you had the red suit, Matt Gaetz, who should be who's still probably under investigation for child sex trafficking. You have a bunch of interviews with a bunch of right-wingers, the My Pillow guy among them. And worse yet, and the worst part about it is, you got Mary Jean Taylor Greene continuing her lies about how the January 6 detainees, the January 6 attackers, the January 6 terrorists are unfairly treated in jail. It's jail, you dumb broad. Of course it's unfair. They're in jail. You think they're supposed to be goody gumdrops and can I have some more TV? No. They're being treated exactly the way they're supposed to be treated, as prisoners. And of course you had the flyby. No, actually, that was just another commercial plane you just heard. Anyway, you had the flyby or flyover by Trump Force One to the theme of the Top Gun movies. And of course, you had Donald Trump continuing to spew his lies about how it's all political prosecution, it's all political, they got nothing, and continuously screaming at the top of his lungs, I am your retribution. I am your retribution. 30 years to the day. 30 years after a deadly massacre that right-wing extremists still praise. Donald Trump wants to scream, I am your retribution, to a bunch of idiotic, non-thinking people. In my last video, I talked about, oh God, I'm trying not to lose it. In my last video, I talked about, oh God, I can't even say it. In my last video, I'm gonna try again. In my last video, I talked about how a Donald Trump supporter emailed a right-wing news source and said, asking the DA of the Manhattan case, Alvin Bragg, to stop investigating him, and also commenting that the investigations against Donald Trump reminded her of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Now, I'll admit, I lost it when I first read that email and first watched that video. But this is where we are in this country. Never before, perhaps even before. See, I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson real quick. This country has been through a whole lot of crap. From the very beginning, when they brought slaves off the boat. From the Civil War to the Revolutionary War to the Civil War. We fought 2 world wars, and we fought them so people could be free. For the right reasons, for the just reasons. We fought, we changed and made laws in this country to liberate the oppressed, to become free from the oppressed. For humanitarian reasons. This country has been through everything, but nothing like this. When you had a ex-president, I'm not going to be formal with him, because I have no respect for the son of a gun. You have an ex-president threatening death and destruction if he's indicted under crimes that we know he's committed. You have a former president who has the support of some of the most dangerous people you could ever encounter, threatening prosecutors and even judges. We've never had this before in American history, and if someone told you so, I want to see the proof. Where a president of the United States in modern times has ever put this country at such peril by his own hand, all because his ego can't take the fact that he lost us an election of the people. We have an ex-president who says the only way he'll lose the election is if it was rigged against him. And it's inspired such incredibly destructive vitriol that the end result was January 6th. And no matter how many of you Trump idiots on Truth Social, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram want to continue to scream, no, that didn't happen. It wasn't as bad as it was. It was a guided tour. Isn't that right, Tucker Carlson? And I got beef with you later, boy. You and I we only just begun, understand? You have an ex-president who's trying to run for re-election in 2024, screaming about death and destruction if he's indicted. Yesterday, during the Waco rally, I had this heated argument with someone on Facebook, a Donald Trump supporter, no doubt. And this guy, I really don't know what goes on in the heads of Trump supporters now. But if yesterday, excuse me, my throat's getting dry. But if yesterday was any kind of indication, then we are in serious trouble in this country. If what I saw in Waco is any kind of indication, this country is in serious peril. If January 6th didn't convince you, if yesterday isn't going to convince you, if the 3 years, 2 years, if the 2 years and some odd months haven't convinced you of the threat that Donald Trump represents, what will? Now, you may want, you want to scream, Joe Biden is this, that, and the other. I got my problems with Joe Biden. But that's about policies. It's not about the fact that he's just giving me an open avenue to be a hateful SOB, to hate people openly. That was Donald Trump, and you know it. 30 years ago, we saw one of the worst massacres this country ever produced in modern times. Donald Trump and his MAGA minions in the House and Senate and everywhere else. These people who worship him like a god. And we already established that. These people worship this man like a god. It's no different whatsoever than the cult leader 30 years ago. None whatsoever. No difference. And just like 30 years ago, actually it's already happened. Donald Trump, I was about to say Donald Trump is going to get someone killed, but he already has gotten people killed. And of course, I'm talking about Ashley Babbitt. that former Air Force idiot that decided to listen to the lies and got herself killed at the U.S. Capitol. I'm talking about the Capitol police officers who did their jobs, who committed suicide because they got all these threats from Donald Trump supporters. The pain of what they went through on January 6th was way too much. And when their country when they need their country to back them up, their country turned their backs on them. The senators and congressmen, especially the Republican senators and congressmen, turned their backs on them the second. I'm talking to you, Kevin McCarthy, speaker in name only. You turned your backs on them and they killed themselves. You turned their backs on them, and now, if they wanted to say every bad word they can about this country, I wouldn't even blink an eye. Look at what you guys did to these people. I'm going to say this, I'm going to close this out. As I said earlier, that Waco rally in Texas for Donald Trump was 30 years to the day that the Waco massacre happened. I'm just wondering how many people are going to die this time because of that rally. I'm wondering how many people are going to actually get killed because of Donald Trump's words. My view is going to be a hell of a lot more than just one person. And I've been getting all kinds of threats of another civil war in the name of Donald Trump. You may want to start that war, but you're not going to win it. We have the army on our side. We have the military on our side. All you are a bunch of thugs who has only one man on his side, Donald Trump, and he is not going to have your back. I keep telling these Trump supporters that every single time they want to defend the son of a bitch. If you get hemmed up by law enforcement, by the military, you really think he's going to protect you? The answer is no. He's not going to protect you. It's only a matter of time. It's not a matter of if it happens. Not anymore. Not after the last few weeks. Not after the truths on Truth Social that Donald Trump has put out, the death and destruction that he's expecting if he's indicted. It's not a matter of if it happens. It's a matter of when it happens. And it's going to happen. Donald Trump lit the fuse. You know, Sun Tzu had this saying that a leader will burn down his country just to rule over the ashes. Well, guess what? Donald Trump is going to put this bitch on fire. Oh yeah, it's coming. The question is, what are you and what are we going to do about it? I know what I'm doing. And I'm not just making YouTube videos for my health, just to get popular. I'm doing this because I love my country, despite all the bad things that's happened to it. I understand the good, the bad, and the ugly that's happened in this nation's existence. I embrace all three, and I learn from all three. But Donald Trump and his supporters, they don't want to learn a darn thing. They just say, America, the beautiful, and that's it. They don't see, the only things they see wrong is when someone says, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And they say, you shouldn't be questioning your leader, Donald Trump. That's not how this country works. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to close this video out for real. As I said earlier, 30 years ago, Waco happened. 30 years later, another Waco is about to happen. All because of another cult leader named Donald John Trump. CTP, you know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.